Blaise Matuidi joined Inter Miami from Juventus. The combative midfielder was an integral part of France's triumphant side in the 2018 FIFA World Cup. After signing in August, he promptly convinced Gonzalo Higuain to join him in Fort Lauderdale. Major League Soccer, MLS, is no longer the place for superstars to have their final hurrah before hanging up their boots. It's a viable destination for footballers. The MLS was thriving before David Beckham arrived at LA Galaxy as a player. He put it in the reckoning for footballers across, and the likes of Thierry Henry, David Villa, Andrea Pirlo, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard and Zlatan Ibrahimovic made the jump across the pond. The former four are established managers at top European clubs, while Zlatan has continued his goal-scoring spree in the Serie A. While movements from Europe have increased, South American talents are also preferring MLS over moves to the old continent. Brian Rodriguez chose LAFC over the harsher climates of Italy. The young forward has attracted attention from AC Milan and Torino, with Aston Villa also keeping tabs. Mattias Pellegrini and Rodolfo Pizarro have made similar leaps. The old established order is under threat as America becomes the preferred destination. It's imperative to look at MLS's roots and its progress over the years. The league was founded in 1993 and has been on the ascendancy since. The 1994 World Cup put the beautiful game in front of American audiences, and the love affair has only increased since the league's 1996 debut. The success of the United States women and men's national soccer teams has also aided MLS's rise. The World Cup gave the MLS a push, but it wasn't enough. The inaugural MLS season was played in empty stadiums, and the franchises found it difficult to rouse local fan bases. Such was the initial response that two of the initial teams folded in the initial 6 years. Financial burdens were increasing, and there were reasonable question marks about the league's survival. Given its infancy and dire straits, MLS experimented and reaped its benefits. World-renowned stars were lured to the Golden Beaches, and the ploy has worked remarkably. In the 8 years that David Beckham retired, the league is already one of the top 4 leagues in the United States. While interest in Liga MX remains high, MLS is surely taking the step in the right direction. The annual summer club-friendly bonanza was missed this season due to COVID-19, but has surely increased the appeal of the game across the United States. The American marketing machine is only getting started, and it's pointing towards an enviable future for the sport in the Promised Land. The popularity of football has seen unprecedented growth. Average spectator turnout has left the National Hockey League, NHL, and National Basketball Association, NBA, behind. It makes one wonder, what's next for MLS in the coming years? Will it be reliant on past their prime superstars to bring fans to the stadiums, or will the young guns match the feats of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi? It's an interesting situation to discuss. England, Spain, and Germany are miles ahead of their American counterparts. The grassroots football is unmatched across those countries, and the beautiful game the only sport in their minds. It's not the same in the United States. MLS has to battle it out with MLB, NHL, NFL, and NBA for bragging rights. Want to know how we never miss a match? With Fubo TV, you can stream any game, anytime, anywhere. Use our link in the description to start for free and watch your favourite teams live. This isn't where the challenges end. What about the bigger picture? Will American teams compete with their Mexican counterparts, let alone teams from across the Atlantic? As it stands, the best that MLS has to offer is still not on par with what the Liga MX has to offer. Both leagues are pushing to become a part of the Copa Libertadores. It'll be great if teams from Canada and the United States are able to pit their wits against the best South America can offer. And if they do join, when can we expect a winner from these regions? These are important questions that need to be answered if the MLS has to make a name for itself and not remain in the shadows of their much-fancied rivals. At the moment, the league is a mix of players at the tail end of their careers and those who are just beginning it. There is talent in the league as evidenced by high-profile acquisitions from Premier League clubs. Jack Harrison has endeared himself to Marcelo Bielsa at Elland Road, while Miguel Almiron also made quite a splash when he joined Newcastle United from Atlanta United. In addition, what about America's own conveyor belt of youth that's impressing in UEFA competitions? Christian Pulisic made waves at the Signal Iduna Park before joining Chelsea last season. Giovanni Alejandro Reina is making a similar impact with Borussia Dortmund. Josh Sargent is a first-team regular with Werder Bremen. While this summer, Weston McKennie and Sergio Dest made high-profile switches to Juventus and Barcelona. There are two young USMNT players plying their trade with Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, respectively. They're showing that they can rub shoulders with the best of the business, but when will they feel comfortable staying at home to make the most of their talents? Will Europe always be their calling cards to prove themselves over their peers? The future looks hopeful for Major League Soccer and the United States men's national team. The domestic game is picking up and is not for the faint of heart. Zlatan Ibrahimovic showed his class and left after completing his 2-year contract. At 38, he was not young, but the Swede is a freak of nature. He competed with Carlos Vela for the top scorer award. Vela is not an average player and arrived in Los Angeles at the peak of his powers. His addition by LAFC was a coup, given the strong support for Mexican nationals in the area. Moreover, he's just one of the younger crop of players that switched Europe for North America. More will surely follow suit. With MLS fighting for eyeballs against established leagues, is its growth sustainable? There's plenty of skepticism about this. Many believe that it will face tough times as its novelty wears off. American fans are galvanized around 19 teams, while Canadian fans have 3 representatives. Surely there's space to grow, but how much and how to go about it? England's 53 million population has 20 Premier League and 24 Championship teams to root for, not to mention the other teams in League One and League Two. In contrast, there's only 22 teams for the entirety of the United States and Canada. This is uncharted territory with respect to football. Europe is small and compact with respect to its population density and footballing presence. How do you go about bringing a sport to 9.834 million kilometers squared, just shy of Europe's 10.18 million kilometers squared? When can we see an expansion that will at least have a franchise in each major city? If MLS has to stay relevant and grow, how does it have football that its rivals have managed? The answers to these questions aren't straightforward and require deeper attention. They can't be fashioned in the same way other leagues are structured in the country. It'll require a novel approach. The MLS with 22 teams is already bigger than most top leagues in Europe and South America. In addition, there is a visible gap between both conferences and the top teams in each. If the league were to add more member franchises, how will the sport fare? Will the competition increase, or will we see a decrease in the sporting outcomes? In the face of these questions, you understand the problems MLS is facing. Does it go for expansion and risk its product, or does it play it safe and gradually welcome new entrants? Taking it slow can be an option, but at what cost? Will the league alienate its fan base by this approach? The response received by Inter Miami can be used as a good benchmark, but not one that will prove to be uniform. With David Beckham at the helm, media coverage has aided the Miami-based outfit, but how the team fares during the coronavirus pandemic are what's most interesting. Its viewing numbers, pre- and post-COVID, can give an insight into how it fared. Miami is a hotbed of Latin American culture, and soccer was bound to be enjoyed by the fans, but that was limited to if they were allowed into the stands. Television audiences are a different story altogether and present their own challenges. If the numbers are interesting, a strong case for expansion can be made. MLS already knows what kind of cities and states to target. That's just the starting point. It's the follow-up that matters. Can the league sustain itself with the expansion? How will its competitiveness be maintained with a greater number of teams? More importantly, can it continue in the same stead if the two conferences were to separate from each other? Will the current model of franchises remain relevant, or should a promotion and relegation system be introduced? FC Cincinnati has proven itself as a great host and has drawn large crowds, but it's in the third tier of American football. It's had record-breaking crowds and deserves to be in the upper echelons of the MLS. Surely it can prove to be a reliable host and pave the way for other cities to follow. After all, fan support is a major element in the growth, and the franchises should be in cities that show greater promise. Putting in the drama of relegation and promotion will only add to MLS's allure. Fans will surely get behind their teams and drive in numbers to support them. Rivalries will be created and stakes rise with survival on the line. It'll also increase the travelling culture in the games. The footballing environment will be at home with it in place. It's also in line with the American dream, and one hopes that it's fulfilled in the capital of the world. However, it won't be easy to achieve, and easier said than done. It'll jeopardise how the sport is established, given the structure of the league. Drafts are viewed as the perfect lottery system to ensure competitiveness, but it's already being rendered useless with high-profile purchases from across the globe. Mattias Pellegrini would have gone as a first-round pick, but was picked up by Inter Miami for €8.1 million. there are already signals that the transfer market will become more important rather than the draft system. In light of its rapid rise and the return of the FIFA World Cup in 2026, promise to make the happenings of MLS more interesting. This time, America is ready to embrace soccer, and the 48-team event will be an extravaganza. Canada, Mexico, and America will host the event together, bringing them to the forefront of global audiences. The USMNT is proving to become a force to be reckoned with, and hopefully, stars groomed in the MLS will show that they have what it takes to rub shoulders with the best. The MLS will be different in the next 10 years. Just like the 1994 World Cup helped propel the game on the continent, the 2026 edition will surely mark another development in its history. There is a reason for optimism as more households are reached with every passing season, and the most watched event in all sports is just the catalyst it needs.